Hey, what's up guys? BJ Dell back with a new weekly art challenge review video. Last week's word was automobile, so let's see what you guys came up with. Alright guys, so let's go ahead and jump into today's video all about automobiles, and the first one up today is Eric's, and I love this design. It looks professional, super slick. When I first saw this design, the thing I immediately thought of is, hey, this would be something that you could see featured on like a video game cover, Need for Speed series, or Burnout, and I think it's really well done. It's got a slick, professional feel to it. And the one thing I wanted to talk about today with this one is, in previous videos, I've talked about using different highlight layers if you're using different colors, the difference between one color layer and the other color layer, because if one's darker, the highlights are going to look different. But in this case, it works really well to use different highlight layers on the same color. And the way Eric was able to achieve this look, as you can see, he's got a super bright white highlight layer here, but then he's also got these kind of subtle highlights that go in here that really just kind of allow him to make this design really pop. Looks very realistic, and it just overall has that nice glow shine to it, like it just came out of the car wash or just got waxed. I'm gonna plug in my pencil here because it's dead as I talk. But the tires here are done really well. Perspective wise, everything is fantastic. I love too how he made the car, of course, the main focus of the design by not going too crazy with details around the canvas. So as you can see, there's a road here, but basically the road is just the lines that show, hey, here's the trail of the road. Instead of going in, putting asphalt in here, pavement, maybe putting gravel over on the sides, just kept it really basic, and I like that. It doesn't detract from the main focus, which is the car. Same thing in the background. I love this glow in the back. It has a very kind of beach vibe feel, especially with the palm trees, and I love how the palm trees are done too, just because once again they are just basically the silhouettes. It's not too much information for your brain to process. They're very basic. They do not draw focus away from the car itself. I like the airbrush feel to those. So if those were done with airbrush, or maybe they were harder in there and then you use the Gaussian blur, that's a possibility too. But just overall, I like the design. Like I said, it has a very professional look to it, and I think it works really well. So I love seeing this one this week. So thanks for sharing that, Eric. Next one up is Diego, and Diego posted this one in the group and said that this was the first time drawing with Procreate and iPad Pro, and it's the second time that he did an illustration. Struggled with the shadows and highlights of the car, but I mean, for a first timer on Procreate, I think this is absolutely fantastic. Not seeing the actual time lapse of it, but kind of breaking down what I think was used on this. If you've watched the snowman video that I've done before, it kind of looks like that same process. So we're not using any outlines whatsoever, and the different parts of the car are actually different layers, which lets you go in when you alpha lock those, and you can kind of build up the layers and make them pop. It almost gives it like a cutout feel by here, adding in highlights here and then a shadow here. It makes this fender actually pop out from the main body, which is super cool. Looks like the noise brush was used, or a similar brush, and I think it works really, really well. Just, the build up here to where you've got this extra line down here. It just, everything just really looks like it should. Even the wheels, I know sometimes wheels are difficult. With wheels, I mean, they're so mechanical, and everything has to be, the perfect proportion. So, one spoke and one rim here is going to be, match the other spoke of the rim here. And then the in-between parts here with the holes, those have to be 100% perfect. One's not going to be bigger than the other, and that's sometimes hard to do, and I think he absolutely killed that. The tires look absolutely perfect. I love the glow here and the smoke as well. and just the overall, you know, use of the shadows and highlights makes everything pop. And this is something, like I said, it has that cutout look, just a very nice, almost like children's book illustration look to it, and I think it is fantastic. I like the glow here in the background as well, along with the shadow underneath here, and it just works fantastic. So thanks so much for sharing, Diego, and welcome to the group. Next up is Quique, and this one just kind of struck me instantly. I love the juxtaposition between just this simplistic, you know, line art car with this white background here, and then you've got this house back here with these browns and then solid blacks. And I think this is just fantastic. It has almost like a noir look or comic book, like a Frank Miller type look to it, and I think it looks fantastic. I love just the balance between, you know, the colors here and just the stark white and black. Obviously not a lot of detail, but I mean, the car looks super realistic just because everything does line up so perfect. I love this heavy black under here to give the shadow as well, and it just is really, really well done. So this shows you how you can make a really striking design by not using, you know, a ton of detail, kind of balancing out your use of colors and darks and lights, and it just works so well. And I'm gonna throw up to Quique put his Instagram handle here, and I will go ahead and link that in the description as well. So fantastic job. I absolutely love seeing this one this week. Next up is Ida or Ada. So one of the problems with these videos, I'm not sure how to pronounce people's names, so if I screw it up, I'm sorry. I'm doing my best. And this one is really cool. These trucks are really kind of cool looking. She actually put in that, let me pull it up here. Let's see, vehicle in this design is a small light truck called a multi-cab. It's a reliable 4x4 for moving on rough island terrain. It's a very common sight in the Philippines. So just hearing the background on this was kind of cool. And I like, once again, the kind of simplicity of this. Since these are almost like cute, kind of miniature, squished together trucks, I just like the simplicity. It kind of ties into that overall like cute look to it. And I think it's really well done. I like this little background here too. Once again, you got palm trees like Eric had in his, and I think these work really well along with the different suns in the background. One thing I would do if this was like a print or something else that you weren't going to actually throw on any merchandise or, you know, t-shirts on a print on demand platform, and if you were just using this background, I would probably make the background a little bit darker. This pink palm tree over here gets a little bit lost in the design because it's so close to the gray of the background. You need a little bit more contrast there. So I would either make the palm tree here darker or make this background darker. One of the two, you can kind of balance it out. And the other thing too, with the suns, and when you're using, you know, circle backgrounds for stuff like this, again, this is very mechanical, and since, you know, the shapes are very geometrical and it's almost like a science to it, you want to make sure they match up from the left to the right hand side. And you'll see here, it comes down pretty much perfect here to where the orange goes into the yellow, into this yellow, and into this lighter yellow white color almost. But on this side, the orange actually comes down past this yellow. So you see here, the orange is up here. It should actually come into right here. The fact that it goes down below this other yellow doesn't match up from side to side. So if you're going to use stuff like this, I would probably try to make those match up just a little bit better because it looks a little bit off on this side. So other than that, that's the main thing that I would do with that and the palm tree. And then secondly, when you're using text, especially on the design itself, to where it's actually a part of, in this case, the vehicle, it's, you know, kind of printed on the vehicle. One thing you want to make sure that you kind of pay attention to is the perspective of the overall design in the vehicle, and make sure that the perspective of the text actually matches up to the perspective of the vehicle or whatever design you have. So you see here, this ride to paradise is angled this way when the basically perspective brings it out this way. So if I draw in a couple lines here, you can kind of see. So you've got the lines in between here and here. You can kind of tell that you've got the perspective right as far as the way that this goes off to the distance. But the problem is the fact that these words are angled backwards towards this way, when like here the car is actually, you know, the front of the car here, the angles are here, And once again, this perspective goes back towards this way. So these actually need to be shifted a little bit. And I'll kind of just lasso these and show you what I'm talking about here. I'm just going to do this with the lasso, and then we'll just go ahead and use the warp tool. So I'm going to pull these around, and you can kind of see what I'm talking about. So your vanishing point for your perspective, you know, is going to be back here. So you want these to follow along with that same perspective. And I'll just do this top one so you can tell. Once again, too, since this part is actually closer, these are going to kind of be a little bit smaller towards the back. So we'll just put it like that. And I'll just do this top one. So there you can see, you know, this one is correct as far as perspective goes, which once you fix this one, you can kind of see how skewed this one is, and it looks a little bit off. So once again, just make sure if you're doing, you know, perspective stuff like this definitely has to kind of tie into the same perspective that you're using for the vehicle. Since it's actually featured on the vehicle, on the door, you want to make sure that they match up. But other than that, fantastic design. I loved seeing that. Just wanted to kind of use this one as an example to talk about perspective today. So we'll go on to the last one, which is Lucas. Lucas threw in all of his different social media platforms down here, so definitely check him out online. I will post his links in the description as well. And Lucas used, as you can see, a very almost Cars-like automobile this week. I love the eyes and the eyebrows up here. Definitely has a lot of character to it, and I like how it was done. Once again, too, with the colors, this is nice. You've got a nice warm hue on this side over here, which I think is really fantastic. And then it kind of goes into a cooler hue back here. So that nice glow over here really kind of offsets this and balances out. It's good color choice. I also like the glow from the windows here. Make sure that everything's not too dark on this side. And I like the highlights here too, just to kind of make this pop and make sure that the car doesn't get lost in the background. I think that's another nice touch too. The lights have a nice glow to them. Those are done really well with that. I'm not sure if you used a luminance brush on there or an airbrush and adjusted the opacity, but those are done really well in addition. And like I said, overall, I just think it works mainly just because of, you know, the colors and how everything ties in together. It's got that nice glow to it that really made it stand out. So fantastic job. But those are the 5 different designs for this week for the word automobile. All right, guys, that's it for today's video. As always, thank you for watching, and thanks to all the artists that submitted work this week. If you guys haven't yet joined, hop on over to Facebook and join the Keep Creating a Learn, Draw, Share Art community over there. That's where everybody's posting their work from these challenge videos, and we want you guys to join. So hop on over. The link is in the description below, and we want to see what you guys can do. If you like today's video too, make sure you give it a thumbs up. Hit the bell for notifications so you can get alerted when I post new videos, but you've got to subscribe first. So what are you waiting for? If you haven't yet, hit that subscribe button. So last week's word was automobile, and this week I know we've got a ton of fans in the group that are visitors to the channel and visitors to the Facebook page. So I know there's some interest. Let's do Star Wars this week. I want to see what you guys can do. What's your favorite Star Wars character? Put it to pen, put it to paper, put it to digital, and post it in the group, and we'll see what you guys did. As for me, I can be found online at bjdell.com, as well as on Instagram and Twitter at bjdell. So until next time, keep creating.